Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank Governor Pence and all of the witnesses for your very thoughtful testimony today. Let me start with Mr. Greenblatt. It's my understanding that in your testimony you mentioned that we need solutions, not bromides and bombastic rhetoric. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that in order to move the economy forward, we really need, I think the phrase was collective serious discussion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, in terms of the National Association of Manufacturers' position on comprehensive immigration reform, am I correct that it's your view that comprehensive immigration reform would be helpful to our economy moving forward?
We need more talented immigrants coming to our country so that they can, we need to keep all the wonderful people that are graduating, foreigners graduating from our colleges in engineering and doctorate degrees, medical, et cetera. We need those people to stay here and not go back to China or back to India. We need them to stay here and either work at American companies, create innovations here in America, or create companies here in America. We need that entrepreneurial zeal to really supercharge the economy again.
And I assume you would agree with the statement that with respect to moving forward on comprehensive immigration reform, we need less sort of rhetoric and need to move to a place where we can actually accomplish results and enact the type of changes that you believe will be helpful for the economy?
My great-grandmother, Kate, came over from Russia in 1904. It was critical, either that or she would live a very terrible life. I'm so thankful she came here to America. America needs immigrants to thrive and to prosper. They rejuvenate our economy and they grow our system.
Thank you for that. I'm actually privileged to represent more Russian-speaking Jewish immigrants from the former Soviet Union than any other member of Congress in the country, in Brighton Beach and other neighborhoods in Brooklyn. And certainly we have benefited, as New York City has benefited, from the hard work of these immigrant families. To Dr. Emeritus, you mentioned, I believe, in your testimony that amongst the mix of things important to promoting higher education for our students in a way that would benefit the country is Pell Grants. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And are you aware that in the Republican budget proposed in the last Congress for fiscal year 2015, that the House majority sought to cut $125 billion in Pell Grants over the next 10 years?
I don't follow the legislative issues that closely, but I will take your word for it.
Would you support that type of cut?
I think that any cut to the Pell Grants will put students at risk, and these are the students that need this education more than anybody else.
Thank you. Dr. Michel, as you mentioned, the productivity of the American worker has increased significantly, above 70% since the 1970s. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yet wages have remained relatively stagnant for the middle-class worker during that same time period, correct?
That's correct. The only time they actually rose was in the period of the late 1990s when we had persistent low unemployment.
And so middle-class workers have not been able to benefit from the economic growth generated from their increased productivity, correct?
That's true. I'd even say that even though Indiana is near to nirvana, the workers in Indiana even have seen falling wages. The median hourly wage in Indiana has fallen 6% since 2000. So this has happened across the country.
How do we address this systematic issue to make sure that hardworking Americans, working families, moderate income folks, middle-class Americans throughout this country can actually benefit from the clear increased productivity that has served the country's economy well, but hasn't necessarily inured to the benefit of the workers who have made it actually happen?
That's a great question. I think the first and foremost is we have to actually act as if better quality jobs and higher wages is actually our foremost concern about the economy. We can raise productivity, we can have better growth, but unless we do the things that are needed to actually link higher wages to productivity growth, most people aren't going to benefit. As I said, higher minimum wage, stronger access to collective bargaining, higher labor standards, eliminate wage theft. All those kinds of things are needed.
I would just note that you mentioned consumer demand is one of the problems impacting the American economy, and obviously, just like gas prices dropping puts more money in the hands of the American worker, they'll save more and spend more. That benefits everyone. So, too, with an increase in the minimum wage. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. I want to thank the witness.